Hey everybody, and welcome to some more United States perfect score speedrun attempts. Today I've got 3 different times for you that are all a tiny bit faster than my 4:28, which is the current world record. So hopefully the fastest of these 3 attempts will be confirmed as the new world record by the lovely people over on GeoTips. So as some of you may know, I do have a 4:03 time. However, I wasn't recording when that happened. My PC ran out of disk space, so that's not the official world record or anything like that, but it still gives me a good goal to reach. Hopefully I can get a faster time than that, or a sub 4 sometime soon. That's the goal. But until then, let's play back these 3 attempts. Hope you guys enjoy them, and here we go. Okay, getting into the first game here. The first location dropped us off at an intersection in some sort of suburban-looking city. We were at Canyon and Lombard Streets, so now I had to figure out which city we started in. I was checking all the local businesses and banners and things to see if they said the city name. This pharmacy was called Beaverton Pharmacy, and I know Beaverton is just outside of Portland, so zoomed into it, found it pretty fast. Now the question was finding these streets once again, so I went back to the start, confirming that we were at Lombard and Canyon, found Canyon Road, and then eventually found Lombard as well. So I just dropped the marker down to the west of the intersection, getting the 5K. Round 2 dropped us into an interstate right over Route 682, so that was going to be useful for pinpointing once we figured out which interstate we were on. So I wasn't sure which way to go here to get the best clues in the quickest possible time. So I think eventually I just went east, hoping for the best, looking for exit signs and state highway shields to narrow down where we would be. You can see this green sign coming up is very useful. It has the Virginia State Highway Shield and exit number 60. Based on the orientation of the road, I assumed it was going to be I-81, and based on the exit number in the south part of the state. Found Rural Retreat there, which was on the sign, and then zoomed into the map, looking for 682. I had seen 681 there. Somehow managed to jump to Gen 1 coverage here on the interstate, which was kind of unusual, but eventually I did spot 682, so we were right over that road. That is the second 5K. Round number 3 put us into a tropical location. The sign there said Shark Key, so that was going to put us in the Florida Keys. So I zoomed into the Keys, hoping I could scan and find Shark Key. Unfortunately, on my first scan through, I did not see it, so that was a little bit concerning for me. I decided to look around really quickly in the Google Maps location to see if I could find any more clues, but eventually I decided that was going to waste too much time, so I decided to scan again, but zooming in a little bit closer to see if I could find it. Eventually, I somehow did find it right there, so we were right at the end of Shark Key. Round 4 is a location I've seen a couple times, but on no moving games. This was the first time I could actually move around at this location. All I knew was it was in California somewhere at Santa Barbara Avenue. So now I had to move around to figure out where the heck in California we were. Spotted a sign for Middletown, and based on the landscape, I decided to scan around in the north part of California. Kind of seemed like that to me, but I wasn't sure yet. So I was trying to see if there were any directional signs to other places, but no such luck. Went further into Middletown here, looking for road numbers. Found some at this junction for California 29 and the end of the 175. That led me to find Middletown here, and from there I just had to find Santa Barbara Street. Unfortunately, it was not marked on the map, but that road there, numbered 119, seemed to fit the bill, so that was the location. Heading into the last round here, we were at some sort of road that started with a C. Didn't really catch what it was when I was playing, but as long as I knew it started with a C, that was going to be good enough. So I went west, flew past a state highway sign for North Carolina, road number 903. That diamond sign is North Carolina's shield. So that gave us the state and the road number, but not exactly enough information to pinpoint. I wanted to get names of nearby towns or cities to help narrow down where exactly we were. So I kept on heading southwest along 903, hoping to make it to an intersection. Made it to one here with some directions to other towns, and those towns were Snow Hill and LaGrange. So I zoomed into North Carolina, looking in the eastern part of the state because that was how the landscape looked to me. Eventually I did find 903, and then also LaGrange and Snow Hill, just a little further north from my marker. You can see them there. So now I had to find our starting location. I was a little worried about this location because I did not have much time left to get a new world record time. So I was looking all up and down 903. Didn't see any roads starting with a C, or really one that fit that orientation either. I was a little bit confused. So I kept on scanning up and down, just hoping I'd find it. I checked on all these roads because 903 was going east-west where we started. So that little driveway there that was unnamed seemed to be the best option right now. And since we were so low on time, I decided to just go with it, stopped the timer, and it was actually there. So final time on LiveSplit is 428.34, but my frame counted time is 427.73. That is frame counting from the exact moment I clicked start to the exact moment I clicked guess on the final round. So that's the actual time, 427.73, about a second faster than my 428, but we still have 2 more attempts that are even faster than this one. So getting into the next game here, game number 2, the first location dropped us into a city. We had a lot of Connecticut license plates at the start, which was very useful. We got the state now, but now I had to figure out which city we were in. None of these businesses or banners or anything near the start really had anything good on them, so I kept on moving north, curved around, made it to this intersection, which seemed a little more promising, some other banners and signs and things here. So I was checking out all of these. That orange banner there says New Britain, which I hadn't really heard of. It sounded familiar, but I wasn't too sure of where that would be in Connecticut. So I zoomed into the state, scanned around for it, found it just outside of Hartford there, and then went back to the start to try and figure out where we came from. Based on the intersection we had made it to, it seemed like that was Main and Arch Street. You can see that intersection there. So we would have come from Arch Street just a little bit south there. With that empty lot just north of us, that put us next to Washington Auto Services. So heading into round 2, we were dropped into another city, which was pretty fortunate. We were at Marshall and Milam Streets. No front plates on those trucks, and nothing useful on that sign there. However, I did find the Louisiana flag, and based on the city, it didn't look like New Orleans or Baton Rouge to me. So I checked Shreveport first, found Milam Street, then I had to find Marshall, found it, assumed it was the right one, and sent it. Round 3 dropped us fortunately in another somewhat urban location, a small town to be fair, but still urban. Lots of North Dakota plates on all the cars, so that was our state. Now I was trying to find the city name once again, checking all the banners and stores. So I kept heading west, eventually made it out of the Main Street district. This banner at the end of the road said Devil's Lake, so I assumed that was the town. Sounded vaguely familiar, but I wasn't sure where that was. Spotted it quickly there next to what I presume is called Devil's Lake, and clicked on the center of town here. Went back to start trying to figure out where we came from. I didn't think it was going to be that feasible to perfectly pinpoint, so I just dropped it there, what seemed to be the center of the city, and thankfully it was right there on that street. Round 4 dropped us into a location that looked a lot like Glacier National Park. Definitely had that kind of vibe to it with the mountains and everything. So I wasn't sure exactly where we started in the national park. I decided to check some of the buses and signs and shelters to see if they had any visitor center names or anything like that. Didn't get any luck there. I went back to the start to see what the road was doing. Seemed like it had a really sharp turn, which led me to think we were there at the loop. And so I did just go for it in the interest of time, and it was actually there. Last round here is very, very annoying to me. I could have had this one done so much faster than I did, and would have been an easy sub 4. Streets there were 9th and Jackson, starting out in a residential area of a small town somewhere. So I headed north, getting out of the residential area, looking at some of these buildings, which I believe were schools. There were some flags at this one, so decided to head back and check those. It said Rushville Consolidated High School. I assumed that was the town, and we also had the Indiana flag there. So zoomed into Indiana, looking for Rushville, and this is where it gets annoying. I do not understand how I didn't see Rushville on the map. You can see it there, just southeast of Indianapolis. I really just don't understand how I missed it. Scanning on the map is definitely my worst characteristic in GeoGuessr. I literally just went right past it there. So yeah, a lot of infuriating scanning. Not seeing it, I decided to keep moving to look for road numbers, or really just any other clues that would help me narrow down where in Indiana we would be. There's a police car and that historic marker as well, but nothing good there. So eventually I decided, well, I'm going to have to just keep scanning, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. Eventually this time I did spot Rushville. Thankfully, if I'd only seen that on the first go around, would have had a sub 4 time, which is the most annoying part of this. But in the end, I did find 9th Street and Jackson. That wasn't exactly where we came from though, so I checked the other street. We started on Sexton Street, so we were just south of 9th Street there. And so I was happy going for it. Final time there on live split is 4:18:58. However, once again, I frame counted this run and it was 4:17.02 from clicking start to clicking the final guess button. So 4:17.02, not bad at all, but there's still one more round, which is even faster. And here we go with the third game of the video. Starting us out in a small town somewhere in the west based on the landscape. The banner here on the lamppost said Glen Rock, which I assumed was going to be the town name. Then I checked some license plates to get the state. Had a lot of Wyoming plates, so I assumed we were going to be there. Zoomed into it looking for Glen Rock, found it just to the east of Casper there. And now we had to find where we came from. We could see some motels and things north of us, so I decided to look for them on the map, spotted them, and then just clicked generally where we came from. Round 2 dropped us onto an interstate underneath Maple Street, so I went west looking for exit numbers and state highway shields, interstate shields, all that good stuff. Found a sign for exit 2 to Lee and Pittsfield. Pittsfield I know is in western Massachusetts, so that checked out with the exit number, so we were going to be on I-90. I was looking on the wrong side of the exit at first, which cost me a little bit of time, but eventually I caught my mistake, found Maple Street, and that was the second 5K. So 2 pretty fast rounds there. It took us only a minute total to get those 2. Third round here dropped us in the middle of nowhere on another divided highway. I decided to just rocket down the road as fast as I could, looking for signs. Made it to this one, pointing out Woodward and Moreland, which I'd heard of. Wasn't sure where they were, but I knew they were in Oklahoma somewhere. I was looking in the western part based on landscape, spotted them there, so I assumed we were on US 270. But now I had to figure out exactly where along that road we were. Made it to this intersection, which had some other road numbers and signs to help me triangulate our position. The junction here said that this was the end of the Oklahoma 50, so you can see that there hitting 270, so we came from just a little south of there. At the start, it seemed like we didn't have any landmarks to pinpoint, but there was that little pond there, and that does show up on the map, so that was what Simi, the map creator, was intending there, and that was the third round. Fourth round is a little bit similar to the Indiana round, in all honesty, starting in a residential area of a small town at 2nd and St. Nicholas. Navigated my way out of the residential area, made it to Main Street here, and so now once again I had to figure out which state we were in and which city at that as well. Wasn't sure on either yet. Spotted this sign for Greenwood County and the Kansas state flag, so that gave us the state. Landscape and everything felt more like eastern Kansas, not western, so I had that much at least. Started to leave town, hoping I would get to some road numbers or directions, but I decided that was going to take too much time, so I headed back into the center of town here, hoping to find the name of the town in downtown. We spotted a sign here for Eureka G&W Foods, which I assumed might have been the town name. Eureka sounded vaguely familiar, and once again here, the scanning is very annoying. You can literally see Eureka just south of my marker there. I don't understand how I missed it. Really got to practice scanning, and again, this could have possibly been a sub 4 time had I seen that faster. But I wasn't even sure if Eureka was the city name yet at all, so I was checking for some more stuff. I found these signs for Eureka Lake City Park, so it was looking more and more like Eureka was the city name. That sign there literally says City of Eureka, so that confirmed it. So I went back to scanning. Didn't want to scan too far west in the state because it didn't really feel like that, so I tried not to go past Great Bend there in my scanning. So I was looking all around there, made it past Wichita, and finally spotted Eureka, so that took us way too long. Zoomed in, found 2nd Street, and then also found St. Nicholas. So back to the start. We were just a little south of that intersection, so that's the 5K. And last round thankfully dropped us into a city. Needed that after wasting so much time in Kansas. The sign there said St. Austin Catholic Parish, so I assumed we were going to be in Austin, Texas. I really had no time to waste here. I had to go with every little bit of information I had. Found some streets for 21st in San Antonio, reassuring me we were at least in Texas somewhere. I found 21st Street in Austin, and then luckily saw the St. Austin Catholic Parish, so dropped it down on San Antonio Street, clicked guess, And the final time for live split was 4:14:52. The frame counted time, once again from the clicking of start to the clicking of the last guess button, is 4:13.80. So overall, pretty happy with this time. Definitely room for improvement. Sub 4 is easily possible if I get the same kinds of rounds that I'm familiar with and actually scan and find cities faster next time. So lots of work to improve on for the next attempt. Hope you guys enjoyed these attempts though. If you did, make sure to leave a like down below, subscribe for more GeoGuessr content, and I will catch you next time.